Hello and welcome to this week's episode of NoCB, a grand strategy podcast where we talk about the latest goings on in the world of grand strategy games, particularly those developed by Paradox Development Studio. Oh, I've got to turn the caption bot on. My apologies. Okay, caption bot should be on and ready to go. I'm TJ Hafer, I'm your host, and with me, as always, we have Rose.
Hello.
We have Lambert.
Hello there.
And we have Father Loris.
Hello. It's me.
And
we have Lambert's yoga.
The caption bot butchering people's names continues to be the number one meme of 2020 so far. So we've got some dev diaries to talk about. I also want to announce that next week, Meneth from the CK3 team, he previously worked on CK2, will be joining us as our first developer interview on the show. So if you have any questions for him specifically, he can't talk about anything CK3 related that hasn't been announced yet. But feel free to send those our way and we can pass them along. Oh, and there he is in chat. So we're going to start today.
So the week I won't be here.
It's your replacement.
Oh, that's week you're not going to be here. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're just replacing you with Meneth. That's, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a conspiracy.
It's a trial run.
Can he replace me in carrying the pregnancy too?
I think that would require
like a horsefish.
Quite a bit of complicated medical technology that I'm not sure exists yet in a viable form. But we have a very fun dev diary to talk about this week for CK3 because we finally got a look at seduction, torture, and intrigue, which is, everybody's favorite part of the game.
It is the backbone of Crusader Kings.
It is, yeah. What stood out to you guys about this one? Anything in particular?
Yeah, Dread.
Dread is cool.
Dread is one thing, but I just have to commend them for use of the word skullduggery, because that's a fantastic word that should be used far more commonly than it actually is.
Oh, yeah. That's
a good word.
What is that, like the past perfect form of to skulldug? What's the...
I don't know, but it's...
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just cool.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've been skulldugged.
I have skulldugged. I will have skulldugged. You need a chart for this. So yeah, you've got the...
So the question is, though, if you dug the skull, can you still put it on your mantelpiece?
Yeah,
no, but you can drink from it.
You don't want it to be too dugged, right? I mean, like, the worst thing to have is like a thing on your mantelpiece which is heavily dugged. You don't want that. You want a mildly dugged skull on your mantelpiece.
Did you guys see that?
No heavy dugging.
Did you guys see that Reddit Am I the Asshole thread about the guy who wanted his skull cleaned and the rest of his body carbon to be made into diamonds and put into the eye sockets and demanded that his family just put it on display like after he died?
I did not see that. That's creepy.
Yeah, it's like, I think the soon-to-be deceased is in fact the asshole in that situation. If you demand that your relatives look at your weird crystal skull thing after you die, and they're trying to cope with the loss, yeah.
It just makes them think. Just makes them think of the curse of the crystal skull, and they will hate you forever.
I don't know what's worse.
Yeah. Can we just forget that movie exists?
I'm sorry, but if you hide in a fridge to get away from a nuke, you can't forget how just stupid that is.
No, it's ridiculous.
Oh, no. Nuke in the fridge. So we've got three focuses here. One of them, skullduggery looks like it's more geared towards schemes in general. You get agent acceptance plus 10, so it's going to be easier to invite people to your schemes. Temptation is obviously the new seduction focus. It even gives you a fertility bonus, which I'm not sure is always desirable, depending on what the objective of your seduction is. That could be a little dangerous.
I mean, yeah, if you're leaving cuckoos in other people's nests that might get discovered.
Yeah. The whole point is to like spread your seed like wildflowers, right? And have them blossom around the world.
But I know a good strategy in CK2, if you need more children in your family than your wife can provide and you can't get concubines, is you invite unmarried ladies to your court and then seduce them and make sure there's no one to know that there's a cuckoo.
It's outsourcing. It's just outsourcing.
Yes.
Well, my favorite use of the seduction focus has always just been to seduce, like, the spy master of somebody I'm trying to kill so that I can just invite them to my plots. And
yeah, that's so much easier.
That's a
that
classic.
can work if the genders line up.
Right.
Well, not so much in CK3 at least. If the genders don't line up, you're gonna be able to do it anyway. Well, as long as
they're interested in you, they said.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be interested in them if you get the perk. What is it?
You're just very good at pretending.
Unshackled lust is what it's called. Where
that's it,
it's like, I'm not attracted to this person, but for my political goals, I can pretend to be for the near future. Yeah.
I'm not gay, but 25% plot power is 25% plot power.
Yeah, see, that's... hard to argue with.
He made decent use of seduction in internal CK3 multiplayer. Wants to get willing participants for all the murder plots.
Nice. See? Yeah, there you go. Just we said last episode, right? Seduction and murder are like the left and right hand of a good CK2 monarchs or CK3 monarch. Yeah, and then we've got this intimidation focus, which gives you a bunch of dread. I'm thinking it's going to be a lot of fun to play like a Vlad the Impaler type character.
Yes.
Using this focus.
I love this section so much. Like, I love the fact
you can't figure out which image is the torturer, can you?
Yeah, those are all just incredibly painful things as far as
super vague
icons there. Yeah. Yep.
Well, I imagine having thorns.
So.
Yeah, I imagine having thorns poking into my heart would be quite torturous.
By the way,
and so would a paper cut, and so would all of those blades. So they're all torture, really.
Mm-hmm. Just
and receiving letters like bills and stuff. My God, nothing worse.
Oh yeah. That's what you should do with a bill. Is you should just stab it with a dagger, and then
naturally.
When someone comes when someone comes to ask what happened to the bill, stab them with a dagger, and then
somebody comes to read your gas meter, and that's it.
Yeah, and then eventually one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to get arrested, or you found a new kingdom because you've proven that the existing powers that be can't collect taxes from you, and at that point you're de facto independent. So there you go. I don't recommend anybody actually try this in real life, but
I do.
Maybe in the Middle Ages, it could have worked out. Especially if you had a castle, you could kind of just be like, go away. This is Liechtenstein. We don't pay taxes to you guys.
Yeah. If you kill enough like gas inspectors, you actually get like a fiefdom over like a refinery.
Oh yeah,
works, yeah.
Is that like in the common law?
It's English common law. That's
you inherit a peerage if you kill enough civil employees. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
No one tells Spiff and Britt that.
Okay.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
He'd start stabbing
he's
Yorkshire tea officials
he's
until he
like
is Yorkshire tea.
Wonderful. So we got some look at how the seduction scheme is going to actually work. You can get critical failures. Yeah, she does not look like she's into whatever it is that.
But the text for that's incredible.
Yeah, that must have been a really bad pickup line.
The text
he
is
crawled in her window.
You're climbing into her window, right? And you basically think she's into you more than she is, and she shouts for the guards, and you have to climb.
I think she's She's on the torture focus there herself.
See, everybody knows you got to start by holding up the boombox outside the window, and then you do the thing with like the flip cards with like big letters written on them in marker, and then if she invites you up, you can climb into her window. That's the polite way to do it.
More than likely we'll call the guards.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with call the guards because that's weird.
Yeah. This isn't a Nickelodeon show from the 90s. You can't just put up a ladder against someone's house and climb into their bedroom whenever you want.
Yeah, Saint SpongeBob.
Yeah, that's a good way to end up with a knife in your stomach.
Yeah.
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 One of those letter opening knives we were talking about earlier. One thing I do want to mention with the lady there is the penalty there was a critical failure, and the critical failure was just that she went and called the guards and you basically fucked off back to your own castle. I kind of want there to be a very low chance, like maybe 1 or 2% chance that if her stats line up and I don't know, she's proud or strong or whatever, that instead of running to the guards, she just fucks you out the window herself and you die.
That would be amazing. Yeah. That I would like that a lot, actually. But yeah,
or even that you just don't escape the guards, you have a chance to be imprisoned.
Right. Yeah,
that's nowhere near as fun as being thrown out of a window by a lady that did not like your advances.
Wait, you're saying...
What if both were options? What if your stats were measured and you just aren't fast enough to climb out? Maybe you're missing a leg.
I think I'm going to dispute...
Imagine if you were an amputee, you wouldn't be able to climb up to the window in the first place. So your event would be you slip on the way up.
Not with that attitude.
You get caught halfway up.
You've got a very good peg leg. It lets you go up, but it doesn't let you go down very fast.
You've got a squire. Squire, help me get up to this window. Give me a boost.
Got a trebuchet.
So yeah, I want to see voting in the chat. What do you think would be more fun, being thrown out a window or thrown in jail? Yeah.
I think Valorgain has it best.
You personally, I don't think anyone wants to personally be thrown out a window.
Well, I think
Valorgain has it best. We should refer to it as yeeting. I think in this case it makes sense.
Yeeteth, yeetist, I think in Old English.
That's the one, yeah.
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 Latin, it's Yeetius Maximus. The maximum amount of yeetage.
Yeah. Or no, thou yeetest. He, she, it yeeteth would be the conjugation there. Yeah. But yeah, so we've got all these cool perks. They can increase your scheme seduction chance. They can remove the incest penalty for seduction schemes, which of course everybody's going to go for immediately.
Well, it removes the fact that the person isn't like it because they're related to you. It doesn't remove the fact that if anyone finds out you're doing it, you're going to be in trouble.
Right. So yeah, it doesn't help you with the social ostracization. It just makes you better at seducing your siblings, which who doesn't want that? Or
your mother, or your daughter, or.
Hey, don't be so sexist. It might be the father or son.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah. I love that the fertility plus 30 is called like weeds in a garden. It's a very kind of indelicate way to put it.
Yes.
And then you have allowing you to restart seduction after you would have critically failed a seduction scheme, which they call graceful recovery. I think I would have a different name for that.
I would prefer if that wasn't a thing. I don't want the ability to ignore the chance of a critical failure. I want that, maybe just reduce the chance of it significantly, but there should always be that small little chance that you're going to get yeeted out of a fucking window.
Yeah.
Or even just the chance that she didn't realize that you were coming up that night and she didn't recognize you in the darkness and so thought you really were an intruder.
So maybe it was raining and she kept her windows closed.
That's like the Shakespearean ending. Like you're actually in love, but she yeeted you out the window anyway because she didn't recognize you.
And then followed you.
Then when she realizes what she did, she jumps out the window too. Yeah, there needs to be a lot of
There needs to be an event like that.
Yeah, there's like
Don't people
there is
hate
a
that
Romeo
you can
and
lose
Juliet.
duels as a master duelist? Yeah, but at the same time, if the event is written well enough, it could, like, despite being a master at this thing, you know, slip on a piece of dog shit that's on the floor and you lose your foot and you get stabbed. I mean, that could be a thing.
My bedroom is littered with dog shit.
I am not the master writer.
Page bumps into you and spills wine all over you.
The other guy cheated and threw bloody sand in my eyes. Maybe the other guy just happened to have the high ground at the time and your mastery meant nothing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, we also get a perk for lovers are less likely to join murder schemes against you, which is something that you'd expect to happen in CK2.
You're missing a part of that.
Yeah.
The bit right before you get to that, the unfortunate cost of maximizing risk for them. Lovers are more likely to save you in the case of attempted murders. They're basically gonna jump in front of an arrow.
They love you so much, and you don't care.
I'll take this arrow in the heart for you.
Suit you.
So you can basically just cultivate an entourage of, like, adoring lovers that are, you know... what was the King of Dahomey had, like, those all-female bodyguards, or the inspiration for the
Gaddafi.
bodyguards in Black Panther.
No, it's very
this
different
is-
to Gaddafi.
I know what they're called in Black Panther, the Dora Milaje. I don't know what they're called in real life. I didn't know they were based off anything.
It was Dahomey, which was a West African, like, Gold Coast state. The king actually had, like, an all-female bodyguard unit, and that's where Black Panther got it from. But yeah, I don't remember what they were called either. Someone in chat probably will. So we got some info on torture. There's a whole torturer tree, which is wonderful. Especially, I love divine retribution. You don't lose piety or clergy opinion from torturing or executing others. It's like, hey,
only in CK.
He was a
This
warlock.
is the
What was
medieval
I supposed
church.
to do? Yeah,
This is the thing
they
that I
wouldn't
find
have
most
given a
interesting.
shit anyway.
If you scroll up, there's a segment underneath the torturing area. If you're sadistic, you actually lose stress from torturing
Yes.
people.
which is wonderful.
Just go to unwind.
Right. You know,
Have any of you watched the Borgias?
yes.
A little bit.
There's the American version and the European version. In the American version, the King of France ends up torturing to death this Prince of Milan, and he just sits there as he's eating and goes, this is so relaxing, as he listens to the guy get tortured. And I pictured that as soon as I saw that perk. that scene.
Oh yeah. You know, you've been having
It's
a
an
hard
old show.
week. Yeah, you've been having a hard week, and you just have to, you know, turn some thumb screws. We've all been there.
That's right, yeah.
Wave a sausage in the air.
Exactly.
Ring up the gas company, get them round.
Yeah, let's see. You can reduce your dread decay. You can actually get... This one's interesting because it gives you dread gain per tyranny. So the more tyrannical you are, the more dread you'll accumulate. Which makes me wonder if High Tyranny is going to be a viable playstyle in CK3. It's really not in CK2. In Imperator, it is. Like, you can kind of go High Tyranny and actually have a pretty good run doing that. As long as you can keep rebellions under control, it actually helps you in a lot of ways.
Sucks for your generals being disloyal, though.
Yeah, that does suck.
Who needs loyal generals? Just replace them before they get too disloyal.
But then all my generals are like level 2.
That's another personal problem.
Keep a couple favorites. Just give them all the attention and let the other ones go do whatever they want. The Dark Insight seems like it's going to be very powerful because you have a 50% chance to gain 1 intrigue or 1 prowess whenever you torture someone. Which seems like people are just going to set up torture farms to max out their prowess and intrigue.
I think that's going to be like balanced, I would have thought, because that sounds ridiculously overpowered.
Yeah.
Because I would do that. I would set up like a big torture farm. Because you get dread and you can de-stress and, you know.
And
it
then
just seems really nice to have a sort of viable playstyle where you can be a really nasty piece of work and basically rule through fear. Fear and blood, like Robert Baratheon said.
There you go.
It's the honor that keeps them in line. I got 7 kingdoms to rule. So there seems to be 2 tiers, I think, right? To how feared you are. So you get intimidated and cowed, from my understanding. And this perk's really interesting, right? Because you get more, basically more levy, depending on how terrified people are of you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm curious what the threshold for that is going to be. I'm assuming that like traits like Brave and Craven will modify that.
Yeah, I would have thought. Yeah.
But the other one I love,
attacks, you get more levy.
Definitely a Wallachia run is going to be quite fun.
The other one I love,
they keep the modifier though. You know, where you get an heir and they get a debuff to their relations if they hate your father. Hope that's a thing. So like you can be a right bastard for the entire play run of your character, and then when your son inherits, it's like, yeah, we're just gonna get rid of you.
But that's something that is in CK2, and it adds a lot of challenge and encourages you to sort of plan ahead.
Mm-hmm. But in CK2, there's no real benefit to being an absolute bastard, is there? Really?
It depends on what you have to do for your nation. If you have to go through and revoke every title because border gore is an issue and you have vassals getting too powerful.
Oh yeah, that's true. And you can
just do it at the end of your reign, and then your son is like, "No, it was nothing to do with me. I'm a totally different person."
No,
blame daddy.
The other one I loved here was the Thriving in Chaos. We were talking about high tyranny being viable. They've actually made playing a high stress character viable by giving you stat bonuses for how stressed you are. So that's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
So you lose stress for torturing, but in the same tree, having high stress is a good thing. It sort of seems a little bit conflicted.
Sure you don't reach too much stress.
So you don't want to be a lunatic, but lunatic's fun.
Depends. It is fun, personally, but it maybe you just don't want it for a specific reason. Maybe it has more negatives in CK3 that we haven't learned about yet.
But it's still got the fun of it. It's got to have the fun events.
Yeah, it has to.
It's got to.
Well, I think
how else are you going
if we don't have Glitterhoof?
Yeah, see, how else are you going to get that?
I want to be able to pass the pants act and then just see everybody walking around in their underwear. Like pants are actually banned.
That's just perverted.
Which part of this isn't?
It'd make the seduction focus much more effective.
Or less effective, depending on your character.
So then we have the Schemer tree. This is more kind of straightforward than the other two. Makes it really good again.
I quite like this one.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite of the 3. I don't know why. I mean, it's more the standard style of scheming and plotting and stuff. It's less like focused on a specific area of intrigue. So that's why I quite like it. And also the finisher for it is really nice. Being able to do 2 plots at once or 2 schemes at once is going to be really powerful.
And plus the Kidnapper. I see this tree being especially powerful if you're playing as a vassal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I really love the one that lets you fabricate hooks on people. Like, if you can't dig up any dirt on them, you can just make something up. It's like, hey, who are they going to believe? The guy who is brooding in the corner and always manipulating people, or you? So...
Clearly the manipulative one, if he's good enough.
Character.
You get to be Littlefinger.
That is all I want. That is all I want. I want to be able to play a game where, like, I am the power behind the throne. I am the voice in the shadows. I am the all-seeing eye. Like, that's the kind of... I've tried to play CK2 that way, and you can't quite do it. Like, not quite. No. Partly because
with Conclave and Way of Life, you can get kind of close.
Right. I mean, part of the problem is that if you're competent, eventually someone will want to elect you as king or emperor, and you're like, no, this is my play style. I was too good at my job. Yeah.
A good way of doing it is playing as a duke underneath the pope, because then you never really want to. Yeah, that's quite a fun way of doing it.
Okay. Anyway, anything else about this particular dev diary before we move on?
I like the artwork.
Yeah. It works. I like it.
Every icon they've put out so far that they've shown us is just brilliant.
Mm-hmm. The UI is beautiful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Really, really good job on that.
Yep.
And we can read the font very easly.
For sure.
That's always nice. No need for a Stellaris font mod this time.
Well, as someone that wears glasses and occasionally would like to take them off while I'm on my computer, CK2 has always been virtually impossible to play without wearing my glasses. And I'm not nearsighted, so... Or I'm not far... Whatever. I can see things close up just fine. It's just hard on the eyes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's CK3
I quite liked
for
it.
this... Oh, go for it.
Nope, I was just saying I quite liked it. Finishing us off there with a seal of approval.
Love the dread mechanics, especially, as I've said many times now. Just love it.
Personally, I think they're quite dreadful. God, I fucking hate myself for that.
Nice.
Why did I say that? Oh my god. Yeet me out of a window.
I think this is probably going to be the most fun tree to play with, but we'll have to see.
I hope there's an option to like be stuck halfway up, like you're climbing up a window, and you maybe, if you're a coward, you go, oh, I'm actually quite scared. I don't like heights, and you have to cry up. Excuse me, help me.
Get your foot caught in the vines, and you're hanging there till morning.
So yeah,
wonderful.
Oh, all right. Next one.
All right, let's talk some EU4. One of the biggest announcements is Johan announced that the government reform system is going to be rolled into the base game. Indian reforms will still require Dharma, and the new ones coming in the European expansion will still require that expansion. But yeah, this is another great thing, another feature that, has, I think, been a little bit limited in what they can do with it because it's expansion locked. Moving into the base game. Yeah, I'm very, very glad to hear that.
I think the biggest problem when you do these things where it's locked to an expansion is if you want to add, if you do a specific region pack later down the line that hooks into this mechanic, it depreciates the value of that future pack. Because if you don't have, for example, with Dharma, and say there was a DLC coming out soon that added a bunch of new reforms, and you couldn't use them because you didn't have Dharma. I mean, that wouldn't obviously be good. So, baking these mechanics into the base game is always going to be a positive in my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And it doesn't devalue the buying the DLC because you still get the specific area ones with the DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of like Hoi 4 has special focus trees that have come out with DLC, but you still have the basic focus tree if you're playing the base game.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, at this point, Dharma's going to run you, like $5 to $10 or something like that. So, I
Is
think
that Humble
that
Bundle sale still going?
Yes,
I don't
it's
know.
still going for a little bit.
It might still be going till like today. Today might be the last day. I'd have to check. But
well, if you're listening with some recorded, you've missed out because it's a good one.
Yeah,
it's a very good deal.
It is a very good deal. Yeah, I think it's kind of in it.
No, it has another 5 days, 22 hours, and 9 minutes and 45 seconds left.
Oh, okay, cool.
Very specific.
To use those affiliate links of your favorite YouTubers.
Yeah. So,
quick, get mine in there, quick.
Yeah. Prove who you love more. We're gonna post everybody's referral links now. You must choose. This is a requirement. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I think it's kind of in an awkward stage where it is like, yeah, you're making features free that people used to have to pay for, but it's kind of a natural transition in the new DLC philosophy, which is to sell content, not features. And, this is the best way they could have handled it as far as I'm concerned. I know there might be some people who bought Dharma, a month ago who are irritated now that they bought it for this expansion feature and they don't want to play in India. They don't want to play as Pontus. But, I think it's kind of inevitable that, there was going to be this transition phase while they're rethinking how they monetize their games.
And that's kind of the thing about buying a game or buying expansions when you know the game is continuously worked on. Things are going to change. It happens with the big MMOs. It happens with the PDX games. It's just something that happens.
Yeah.
You buy in with that expectation and then you never be surprised.
Definitely. So we got a sort of a small quality of life development diary as well. They're adding sort of a Hoi 4-like thing where you can see possible troops and reserves before you declare war. You do get perfect information, so there's not like an espionage component to it like there is in Hoi 4.
Unless you turn that on with multiplayer.
Right,
Yeah.
you can turn it off for multiplayer.
But then it gets turned on if you have infiltrate administration, which is just perfect.
Right, which is cool.
Yes.
Cool.
This is all information that was already available in the ledger. If you didn't have it turned off in the settings, they're just moving it to a place where you can find it without backing out of the declare war screen and opening up a bunch of menus, which is always cool.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to keep a bunch of numbers in mind and do a bunch of arithmetic to figure out exactly how much you can be finding. It's all calculated for you.
Mm-hmm.
Will anyone really miss scrolling through the ledger before every single war?
No, I miss it so much that I never did it because I just could not be asked. It was
Resorty in chat is
too
claiming
much
he's
effort.
going to miss it.
He's a liar. They say
Yeah.
streamers shouldn't be mean to their audience, but you're a liar, sir.
I know that. I always just eyeball it. I'm like, okay, Austria and Württemberg and Poland, Lithuania. Yeah, I think I can probably take those three. Yeah, maybe.
And then you're wrong.
And then I'm usually wrong. So yeah, this will be
It
helpful
can't go
for
any
me.
more wrong than my game went last Sunday, so...
Do tell. You have to share the story now.
EU4 is not my main Paradox game. I usually only play it multiplayer, or when I do play it single player, I play as like Portugal, or I play over in the West Indies and do sort of a colonizing game.
Uh-huh.
I decided to play Genoa in multiplayer on Sunday.
Okay.
Hello, Coalition.
Nice.
Hello. Very tiny Genoa now.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful.
Yeah.
I think we had 15 loans at one point. And then I
That's
also
just-
paid them
that's
all
just standard
off,
play.
And then the Coalition attacked me again. Even though they couldn't take any land, they just wanted war reps.
Nice.
I have fully embraced the early modern idea of spending on deficit in EU4. The England multiplayer game we're playing right now, I went like full Florinomics. It's like I'm 20,000 ducats in debt. It doesn't matter. My government is still solvent. Our interest per annum is like nothing. It's like, this is the world now. We're in the 1700s, and all money is fake. It all just belongs to the banks. And
that's it. Yeah, the ducat is now a fiat currency.
Yeah. Yeah, we're mixing chalk into the coinage like nobody cares. Yeah.
Well, going full try hard is as soon as the war is declared, you take every single loan you possibly can. So you've got like 20,000 ducats of money, but also 20,000 ducats of debt. And then you fight your war, and then you go bankrupt.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
like,
the truce will last as long as the bankruptcy. And then, you know what? You won because you had those ducats. And the other guy, well, he lost. So it doesn't matter if he's in debt or not. He doesn't exist anymore.
That strikes me as exploity there, sir.
And then
you got to get every advantage if you're playing multiplayer.
you get an event pop up that's like, oh yeah, 689 ducats to get like +2 legitimacy or something. It's like, yeah, we can do that. We already owe so much money. That's just a drop in the bucket. Yeah, here you go. Any event that asks me for money, I'm just, yeah, here's all the money. Yeah, it's meaningless. Doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it's good fun. It's really good fun. And then you get to yell, I declare bankruptcy when you go bankrupt. So that's the best part. Let's see. So they've added some icons that tell you on the rival screen who is already rivaling you. That's always useful information to have.
This is a fake screenshot.
Ooh.
This is a fake screenshot because if it was real, Denmark would have rivaled him.
Oh, who's he playing as in this?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's the thing.
The Danes just rival everyone.
Asshole.
Danish traditions is like +5 possible rivals. Yeah.
That would actually be a really fun tradition to have.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just +1 rival slot.
Your power projection would be sky high as long as you kept beating people
Well, until you reach the point where you have no one you can rival because you're map painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be too strong then.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go, Alfred Strike. I've been rivaled by Denmark as Venice. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're playing.
Like,
Denmark's an ass.
There you
Denmark
go.
just is preparing itself to go and claim the Hansa. That's all.
Yeah.
It's like is player +50, chance to declare as rival.
Yeah. Oh, the Danes. Yeah, so we talked about this part already. They're turning limited country forming into an option, which is cool. They're adding a little button so that if an event targets a specific place, you can click it to go to that place. So if you don't have perfect knowledge of the names of every province on the map, which at this point you really should, if you're a serious EU4 player, I should be able to
don't know all the provinces of Inner Tibet. Get out.
I'm sorry, can I just go back? Johan's just said there that before discovery rules were coded in, Denmark would rival the fucking Aztecs.
Hey, all right, we're gonna gather together the Storting. All right, so if there happens to be some kind of empire across the sea that we don't know about yet, of like guys that wear jaguar masks and sacrifice their enemies to the gods, fuck those guys. I don't know if they exist, but fuck those guys. Yeah, that's
It's
amazing.
still bitter about Vinland. That's what it is.
Yeah, they probably killed Leif Erikson. We can't prove it, but yeah, somebody over there, was up to something.
That's probably why Denmark does so poorly in multiplayer games when they're in AI, because there's so many players, it doesn't know what to do. It can't rival them all, so it just breaks.
They've also, remember we were talking about last week, since merchant republics are getting their malices being switched to a governing capacity thing, I mentioned Prussian monarchy would be another good candidate for that, and they have changed Prussian monarchy penalties to be based on governing capacity instead of amount of provinces. So that's really cool. And they're adding a new building that takes up a manufactory slot that gives -20 governing cost and -5 minimum autonomy in the entire area. And it's doubled if you build it in a province with paper, gems, or glass, which is going to be a really cool way.
I like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that too. Totally in favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
More choice.
The one other small teaser we got was Grugy said this was a suggestion on the forums that he implemented in 30 minutes. Just a new fabricate claim screen, which is beautiful. Looks like it's gonna
shows over development. It's very nice.
You don't have to look up which province has more development. So, yeah.
Oh, it's just so nice. This dev diary is just like a cavalcade of really nice quality of life things, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just, just little things you go, oh, I didn't think of it, but that's a really nice little idea, isn't it? That's just, it's nice.
But the fact that we're getting dev diaries that are just focusing on the small quality of life things instead of all the big changes makes me think we're getting much closer to it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say...
La Resistance announced the release date for that.
Right. We got that. Mm-hmm. Was that right after we recorded last week that they announced their release date?
Right after we recorded.
Oh my god. CC strikes again. Really nice pussy of life.
That should have been the name of a dev diary, to be honest.
That's the name of the podcast episode.
Well, as for the name of the podcast episode last week, people were disappointed it wasn't Sausage Fingers.
Oh, really? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was it last week? I don't remember.
I usually write when I'm... Oh, last week was top 10 types of slavery. I usually, when I'm editing it, I write down just like anything funny anyone says, and then I kind of arbitrarily decide at the end which one I'm going to use as the episode title. Yeah, if you guys have a line that you think would make a good episode title, feel free to ping me on Twitter about that. So Hearts of Iron, let's watch this trailer real quick, see some of the new unit models, and hear some of the new music. Yeah, I think I might have killed my mic and the stream a little bit by trying to play that while I have an upstream feed.
They're not hearing the music.
Oh man!
I heard no music.
It's fine. Well, it's good. You can watch
it's a good job we didn't stop talking.
Oh, because the sound isn't going through Discord, so it's not being picked up by voice meter. That's probably why.
Got you. It is. Well, it's the models for the most important thing.
All right. Well, anyway. It was something like da, 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 da. Okay. There.
Our voices are the music.
Yeah.
There you go. You can listen to it yourselves as well. It's in chat.
It's really. I mean, it's really
that's
good music.
Beautiful to hear. Thank you.
Yeah. We got some new portraits coming for France, Spain, and Portugal, including some non-leader portraits for when your government is ruled by a non-individualistic form of government, which is very cool.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Makes a beautiful change from the current Switzerland one, even. You know, it's just like a thing I quite... It's like the falling government, you know, for the UK. That's a beautiful little portrait, non-human portrait. Out of these new portraits, I don't know who these are based on, but this guy I think looks like he's definitely a spy. Like the bottom center right here. Just looks very suspicious compared to everybody else here. I don't know who
the admiral on the top row. He looks a bit weird.
Yeah, I think he's maybe smoking the devil's lettuce or something.
He looks like he belongs in one of those 1930s cartoons.
Yeah. We got an eye patch man. I'm a fan of eye patches. I think there's very few conflicts that aren't made better by the addition of eye patches. So, and they also.
He looks a little bit like Stephen Lang, the guy with the eye patch.
He does.
Is it just me, the bald guy in the second row? He looks like a bald Winston, like a bald, like more grandfatherly Winston Churchill to me. I don't know why.
Kind of a little. Yeah, kind of a little bit. Yeah. And they showed off the procedural portraits for spies, which are.
Just go have a portrait. I don't think Xavier's on there, right? I think Xavier was the Bourbon claimant, who the car lists. I don't think his portrait's been revealed yet, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just like dumb and don't recognize him. But
yeah, I don't know.
As long as he's got a big red hat when he's in the game, I don't mind. That's all I want.
Right.
Going back to these spies, what Henry Cavill with the glasses in the center? Right? That's Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill
in the very center?
No, what's Henry Cavill?
No, it's like in the center row, the one that looks like Henry Cavill.
This guy right here?
In the black coat. Yeah.
He looks
like Henry Cavill to me. I don't know.
Cavill. Henry Cavill's shoulders are like gigantic. He looks
All
like
right, but ignore the shit.
Henry
I'm just looking
Cavill's
from the
little
neck up.
brother. Yeah, I can the face shape. I can definitely see some Cavill going on there. Yeah.
Well, I think these are randomly procedurally generated. Actually, these spy portraits, so that you do get a randomized portraits, like in CK2, where certain features are overlaid onto one another, and you get an image. I think that's how it works. I believe
would make sense.
Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's it's similar to how CK2 does it, but not quite as many different combinations. Yeah. That's gonna be really cool.
2D modular portraits. Yeah, I thought so.
There we go.
I hope that Alan Turing actually makes an appearance, though. I hope there's a portrait for him.
Yeah. Well, we actually, to skip down a little bit, we'll go back to the models. But yeah, they do have some famous spies who have their own portraits. Yeah. So Turing seems like he'd make a lot of sense to add in there.
Mm-hmm.
But we're getting new armored cars, new spy planes. We're getting some new tanks. Spain actually gets their own light tank model now, which is going to be cool for the Civil War and all that stuff.
I gotta commend the model designers, because despite this being a game where you are, zoomed further out than your standard kind of think of Wargame Red Dragon. These models are higher res than the models in Wargame Red Dragon, and you're generally zooming quite close into that game. You're generally not doing that here, but they're still very highly detailed, and I think that's awesome. And props to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
They just look gorgeous. They look like someone's pulled out one and painted it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I sometimes make objectively bad unit models just because the unit model is good. Like I make bad divisions, I should say. Like, for example, if I'm playing the Soviets, I like to have a lot of rocket artillery because I love the pew pew pew. Rocket artillery.
The noise that Katyushas make is just music.
Man. That's just so satisfying. I know we're not the best units in the world, but man, they're just great. It's so satisfying.
You're saying that they're not the best units in the world? That sounds reactionary to me. I think
it's the only thing you need in your army. Nothing else.
Tell the party about your lack of faith in the Katyusha.
Watch out! Don't run to Mexico.
Yeah. Or run to Mexico and just get really good at hand-to-hand combat. So,
or take over the government in Mexico.
That's really, that was Trotsky's main problem, is that he did not know enough kung fu. I think if you look at it from a standpoint of actual Marxist theory, he just needed a lot more kung fu. He needed more points in kung fu, and would have been fine.
He didn't spec well enough.
The assassin comes into Trotsky's house, and Trotsky takes out his own ice pick, and the Duel of Fates plays in the background.
And then he yeets him out a fucking window.
There you go. Someone needs to make an anime about Trotsky running from Stalin's assassins in Mexico. I want to see this. I want to see this happen.
Probably exists somewhere.
Anything else?
I do love that old Nan. Look at the old Nan spy. Isn't it just wonderful? The old biddy.
Oh yeah. I like that they can kind of be all different, ages and.
I'm gonna just keep re-rolling my spy until I've got an army of old ladies that do.
She's jumping out of a. She's jumping out of a plane with her scarf and her reading glasses to raid the heavy water plant in Norway. Yeah,
and she doesn't need knives or guns. She's got her knitting needles.
There you go. Yeah, fantastic. Anything else about Hearts of Iron before we take a quick look at Stellaris?
That old biddy, she reminds me of the old biddy in Hot Fuzz that pulls out a gun out of nowhere and starts shooting people.
Yeah.
I believe this woman has that same gun.
Like a sort of a farmer's shotgun. Yeah. She just gets roundhouse kicked though, so...
Well, She needed to do more kung fu, didn't she?
Such is the risks of being a spy, I guess. You might have Simon Pegg roundhouse kick you.
They've also announced that the next 4 Dev Diaries, there's going to be one on achievements. They're going to do a Spy Master AAR, which is interesting. I don't know if they've ever done an AAR Dev Diary before. That's after action report to those of you who have been dragged here to listen to this by our minions after we specifically instructed them to bring you to us.
AARs can be quite entertaining.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like them.
My favorite AAR was a guy doing a modded Vicky 2 run as Great Britain, but like the game started in like the 80s or something. That was such a good AAR. I don't remember who made it, but it's just amazing.
If you think you don't like AARs, go read Boat Murdered. That's an AAR.
Boat Murdered is the classic.
Boat Murdered is
wonderful
amazing.
piece of literature.
Even people who don't know Dwarf Fortress know Boat Murdered.
Yeah.
It's just
incredible. Now
well,
imagine
lot
Boat
of-
Murdered,
yeah.
but for grand strategy, that's Paradox AARs. They're normally pretty good. Obviously not as good as Boat Murdered, because nothing could be as good as Boat Murdered, but
Boat Murdered is just great. It's just, I'm going to go reread it tomorrow.
Really good AAR done by Wiz back in like 2009. No, sorry, it'd be in 2008 with the original Crusader Kings.
Oh
wow.
House Hohenzollern, and then goes on to EU3, Victoria, not Victoria 2, Victoria, and then Hoi 2.
wow.
Nice.
I'll check that out. I can imagine
I'll have to
Wiz
look
would
at
be
that,
quite a good author. That sort of thing too.
For
There's
sure.
the link for it in chat if anyone's interested.
Well,
My favorite
It's a very
AAR,
good
my favorite AAR of all time was the Crusader Kings Chronicles on PC Gamer, written by some guy. I don't really know who he is, but you guys should look that up. Anyway, so there's
that could be.
And now the obligatory, there will be a bunch of comments on this, like, wait, you're the Chronicles guy? Wait, you're the patch notes guy? Wait, you're bad at unifying your brand across multiple platforms? Yes, all of those are true. So we're going to get...
I found what the AAR was called. An Empire in Which the Sun Will Never Set by Triggs XSP. And it's on r/Paradox Plaza. So if you search for An Empire in Which the Sun Will Never Set, such a phenomenal AAR. I love it.
Oh my god!
It's using the NWO mod.
Oh, sweet. Okay. I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So yeah, we're getting patch notes on 219. So that'll be a busy Wednesday morning for me, and then release on 225. So I'm gonna predict that the EU4 expansion will probably come out like early Q2, like maybe April. But I don't know. It could be March. We don't know how close they are to done with it. Yeah.
Well, and then we also have federations, but if we're predicting federations for March, then I can't see them dropping the EU4 on top of it.
I think federations will be a little bit longer because I think they're going to roll in a lot of what's it called? Performance updates with it too. To be fair,
Right. So we got this big long Q&A on federations. We're not going to go through every question and answer on here. I don't know about you guys. I was a little bit disappointed by this Q&A. It seemed like there were just a ton of a ton of answers that were like, yeah, that's a great idea, but we're not doing that. Yeah, that would be awesome, but we're not going to be able to do that. Like, it was a lot of shooting down of dreams.
aren't like all Q&As like that? I mean, you look at like
I
a Blizzard's
guess.
panel. You look at the average middle class, it's like, wow, that's a really great idea, but unfortunately, I don't think we're going to make that to release because some idiots come on from the stage, just like, can you add my OC Sonic character on DeviantArt to World of Azeroth, please? And it's like, no, that's a great idea.
Were there any specific questions that stuck out to you guys, though?
Not really. Like, I kind of agree with you. It's just like so
I don't
many.
think there's any.
No, we can't do this yet.
Yeah, I had to be honest, it was a bit TLDR for me. I was I read
is
like
long.
half of it. I just couldn't find any new information for it.
Well, and then some of the questions are like, any plans on changing the gamey terms level 1, level 2 to something more immersive?
Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean,
That's a good
Stellaris is
idea,
very
to be fair.
role-play, but it's...
That's a really good idea, but unfortunately...
Maybe in the future.
Unfortunately,
Not at this
localization strings, those are really hard. Yeah. So... Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like my hype for Federations is not as high as it is for, like, La Resistance or the E4 European update. I don't know how much of that is just that I've kind of drifted away from Stellaris in general, and how much is that, I don't know, I was hoping it would be a bigger revamp to the basic diplomatic game than it seems like it is going to be. I don't feel like Diplomacy got the same level of tune-up that, you know, Warfare and Economy and Planet Management did. But who knows?
I'm still quite excited for it because, like I've said a few times, like I only play multiplayer, and I think this will be...
And these Federations seem very powerful in multiplayer.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of, like, scheming and vote dealing and, you know, chicanery.
Well, for Stellaris multiplayer, I always felt that as soon as Federation started getting formed, the game was pretty much over because they're just too powerful. You attack one, you attack everyone, and now all of the players are like, yeah, let's just join this Federation, or there's going to be an opposing Federation, and it's Federation versus Federation. It just killed multiplayer games. I preferred multiplayer games where Federations were banned. And if this shakes it up and makes Federations interesting, because honestly, Federations were the part that I really felt was the weakest part of Stellaris. If this shakes it up, then I'm excited for it. And that's pretty much all I can say about it.
Usually,
I 100% agree.
For playing Stellaris multiplayer, when it's a game I'm hosting and running, we have a limit, depending on how many players are playing, on how many people can be in each Federation in terms of player characters.
Yeah, but it has to. There has to be house rules about it to make the game like function as a multiplayer game. Plus, the amount of score you get for being in a Federation is just ridiculous.
Oh, and Agamede in chat mentioned there was a CK3 Q&A. We'll probably talk about that next week because there's a lot to go over, and we don't have a lot of time.
And you'll have Meneth here next week too.
And Meneth will be here next week, so we can ask
extended
him all the
Q&A
questions that he's not allowed to answer. Yeah.
But if the question's on this list, he's definitely allowed to answer it.
True. Yeah. Adding additional insights. That's the value add. Yeah. Any other thoughts on Stellaris before we go ahead and wrap it up for this week?
I'm still excited for Federations.
I'm trying to think of things that jumped out in the QA.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still excited about it from a roleplay standpoint. Like, I think it's going to be fun to create new empires using the new origins and stuff like that. I just don't know if it'll address the the kind of systems problems that I have with the game at this point. Like, I might end up making a bunch of empires and then like playing them for like 50 years and being like, all right, so that was that expansion. But we'll see. I'd love for it to pull me back in. I mean, I want games to be good. So
we haven't done the Imperator Rome Dev Diary.
There was one thing actually from the QA that I
was there
remember. You know how the psychic duel mechanic? You know, where you cyclic duel to the head of the Federation. So I think if you're a science protectorate, hold on, let me just double check. Let me open the dev diary again just to double check them. I think you can like do a scientific speech or something. Let's have a look. Which is essentially
I have not even read
the
this
duel. So more of those sort of event-based successions, great in my book. You know, if you've got a scientific federation, then you have to have like a sciencey thesis. Thesis, that's the word I was looking for. Doing a thesis, and then if you do a really good thesis, you get to be head of the federation. Great.
Does a science-based YouTube channel count?
What's that?
For a
If you have a science-based YouTube channel, does that count?
Yes, yeah. The source, just get like head of the federation.
Do you have a video thesis?
So is it based
on your science-based YouTube?
Is it based on views? Is it based on ratio of likes to dislikes?
It needs to be peer-reviewed.
Viewer duration.
Oh yeah.
How many subscriptions to men's bathroom product subscription service you can sell?
Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends.
No, clearly it's got to be based on your click-through rate.
So I knew I was forgetting something when I made the show notes for this episode. There is an Imperator Dev Diary I haven't even read yet. Lambert, do you want to run us through this since presumably you've read it? I was like, wait, there's a fifth game, isn't there? Oh yeah, it's the one I was playing like 3 days ago.
So the biggest thing in this one is they're changing loyalty to be less about modifiers that push loyalty up or down, and rather they're going to be static modifiers. So instead of Primary Air giving plus X amount of loyalty per month, it's going to be Primary Air gives you plus 20 loyalty. And so you're going to be able to see exactly where your loyalty is at any time. There are still going to be some decaying modifiers. We say it's to make it so that your characters aren't either always pushing towards max loyalty or zero loyalty.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
I really like the idea of the way it used to work, where you're pushing loyalty somewhere, or you're pushing it down, pushing it up.
I like how dynamic it is,
works
too.
better. Yeah, I like the dynamic part that it used to be. This kind of worries me that it isn't dynamic. But if the gameplay is better, then I'm for it still.
I think I have to sort of play it in game to see how good it is. I do quite like this system at the moment. I don't think it needs to be changed, to be honest. But if the new system's better, I worry mainly that large realms are going to be too stable now. If you get too many static modifiers and there's no way of sort of ticking it down and weakening realms like that way. I wonder how the button you can click on enemies, vassals, where you can inspire disloyalty. I don't know how that system will work now. If that's going to be a flat modifier, if that's going to be ticking.
Yeah, I mean, it'll kind of like say, okay, there's no point in ever doing it now, because if you're only going to get negative 50, well, the guy's on 93. I know that negative 50 is not going to push him disloyal, so why bother doing it? Having and that also negative 0.5 a month is better. So
if you're playing a game, you can basically say to someone and instantly, pow, minus 50 loyalty. It gives no time for, if you're playing a multiplayer game, for people to react to that, And
now, you've just gone to below 25 loyalty. Well, this entire region is now mine.
Yeah.
Enticing government. I'm worried for it, and I didn't see the need for it. But again, I'm going to have to wait until I play with it, because it's all in how it plays, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm in the same boat.
It feels like a good middle ground might be to have it work like stability, where it decays toward a certain number that doesn't necessarily have to be 100 or 0. But that might be very complicated to do on a per character basis. I don't know.
I think it just needs something like what they have for stability, where there is a weighted negative modifier. The higher your loyalty is, the bigger this weight dragging you back down is. And then just give me what the base level is. If all the modifiers are working and they've been working the same way for 50 years or whatever, this is what it would rest at. Just show me the resting number, but keep the kind of gradual change of loyalty. I think I would prefer that. But again, like I said, it's just if this plays better, then it's fine.
We won't know until it's out. That's the thing. I'm worried, but in the end, they've done play tests, I assume. So
and I just feel there was places in the game that kind of needed a rework much more than this.
Let me form Tibet. That's all I want. Make Tibet a formable country. I want my Buddhist Tibetan slave state to be actually Tibet. That's what I want.
Naturally. They also did change a lot in India, speaking of. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There's more countries there. Maurya isn't the big behemoth it once was. Like, it doesn't even have a border with the Seleucids anymore, although it does have borders with its vassals. So,
although I find they're quite easy to kill because you don't have many forts, and you can sort of abuse the AI a little bit. So wait until you're at war with someone the other side of them, and then you take control, and you can go around and burn a lot of their cities and make a lot of money and take a lot of slaves and normally take a bit of land too. As long as you have that war goal, you're sorted.
Yeah, I'm looking at this new map. Yeah, I'm assuming a lot of these are Maria vassals to start with.
No, they're independent.
They all are? Oh, wow.
I think there was one that isn't.
Yeah, like the new ones in the Himalayas are independent.
Arakosia is a Seleucid vassal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're a Seleucid vassal. Okay.
The Punjab, Haryana, Paruva, Yautava, those are... Oh, no. So the Paurava and Yaudea. God, these names.
Yeah,
the purple one and the yellow one are vassals.
I think you've aced it. No one will complain.
Well, Mahisamandala and Pallada are now tributaries.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's
I think this is going to make Moria more powerful. I think normally having vassals and stuff that can boost a lot of troops and generally having it be not one massive behemoth that can be quite unwieldy for the AI to control. Might make him a bit more powerful, weirdly.
Yeah.
But again, interesting how it'll play out.
I just
it
want
looks like
them
it's going to
to
make it
color
more
in.
Interesting. So
I just want them to color in this one little wasteland province in the middle of Maria. If Maria controls the entirety of the Indian subcontinent, there is one territory that doesn't get colored in.
Yeah,
and it hurts my soul.
Yeah. I think make every single area colorable in, because it's exactly the same. If you're playing Tibet and you conquer all the desert to the north, the Gobi Desert, I think that's the Gobi. Taklaman, actually, I think that is.
Taklamakan,
I don't know.
The Taklamakan
like
Desert. Yeah.
Taklamakan, yeah, that one.
There's a number of L's in it that are unknown. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically there's a mountain pass that doesn't get coloured in, and also the whole Tibetan plateau doesn't get coloured in, so you ended up having a sort of crescent-shaped empire. Just make all the tiles colourable in, because everyone likes colouring in. It's nice.
Well, and if we look down at southern India, I can see there's a couple more nations like north of Pandya, and even like Sri Lanka is now 3 places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anuradhapura got split up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more interesting. It looks very similar to what they've done for a lot of regions in EU4, where it's like, let's just make sure that there are enough independent countries to actually have interesting politics going on. And then Arakosia, which is kind of in the middle of Persia, they've made some changes to. Or the border region between the Maurya and the Seleucids.
Now they get that through an event, I believe, right?
I think from now on they will be just from the start of the game as a vassal.
Okay.
Well, cool.
Yeah, it's a playable satrap of the Seleucids, so it'll be there from the start of the game. But, I mean, if the Seleucids gives in to the Mauryan demands, I think Arakosia is going to just immediately pop into Mauryan control every game.
Yeah, and that's what normally happens, right? I think the AI is very weighted towards that, and I think if you're playing them, having been the first war, I think, that Maurya normally goes to war with, you don't want that as the Seleucids.
Oh, yeah. As well, right at the end of the dev diary there, it says, next week Arheo will be back to talk about something close to his heart. And I think I have a little bit of an inkling on what this might be. So when we were at ParadoxCon, I did my interview with him. I asked him what he would do if he had like carte blanche to do whatever he wanted with Imperator. And he said that he would like to do things with migratory tribes, and migratory tribes being his favorite country to play as. So I think next week we're going to learn about some changes to migratory tribes. That's my guess.
That would be awesome.
That could be very interesting.
Because those are also my favorite.
Tribes are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're my favorite too, but currently I'm not thrilled with the way they work. So I was expecting that would probably be its own patch or its own expansion or something, but if they're going to deal with it now, I'm very down for that.
Yeah, that's just my hunch. So if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So we shall see.
There's a lot of tribes coming down from a steppe in that time period, right? Going into Bactria. I forgot the name of them. It's a tribe that comes out of China, I believe. It's very like Indo-Europeans.
Oh, yeah. They invade India like 100 years into the game or something. I can't remember their name either.
Yeah, I've forgotten it too.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on Imperator before we actually, for real, get out of here for this week?
I still think it's the game with the most potential.
Yeah,
it's a really, really good game now, actually. If you haven't gone back to it in the last couple of months, definitely give it another try.
Load it up.
It's really good, actually.
Check it out.
I love...
definitely not the game that got to play at
pre-release
last April when it came out.
And I loved, I also do want to mention, I loved the quote from Arheo about, let me see if I can find this real quick. Paradox channel. You guys won't be able to see it on screen right now, but when he said it's a civilization builder, not a map painter, not an economic simulator or an RPG, it's about defining or discovering as the government or leading cabal of your nation what makes your civilization unique and showing the world in whichever manner you choose. And he said for Rome, that might be you want to build a heritage of conquest, but perhaps you have other goals, which that's exactly what I want to hear. It's exactly the direction I'd like to see the game go.
Yeah.
I thought that was very vague, but I'm fine with vague.
Yeah.
I don't think that the game needs to be, hyper focused on any one specific area to really... That doesn't need to be its identity. Like, CK is all about, role-playing. That's its identity. I don't feel that there needs to be a hyper focus for Imperator to succeed. I quite like the mix of, EU4 style, I'm in control of a country, but at the same time having characters in it. Like, that's what I want for EU4. So, I can't be displeased with that.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, Rose, what have you been up to? Where can people find your stuff?
Enigmatic Rose 4 on Twitch, some on YouTube. I did post another video for my Crusader Kings Vassal tutorial up yesterday,
Awesome.
And I've got another one in the works because I'm going on vacation for a week.
All right.
When I come back, I'll probably play some EU4.
Nice. Lambert, what have you been up to, and where can people find your stuff?
Just doing a bunch of achievement runs in Imperator. Today I actually finished recording my Roman campaign. I finished, between this episode and last one, I finished my Heraclea Persica campaign. So I've got to decide what I'm going to be playing next, and I don't know yet. So lots of Imperator, multiplayers, single players, all that kind of good stuff. And that's over on Lambert2191 on YouTube and on DLive.
Wonderful. Loris, what have you been up to, and where can people find your stuff?
I've been up to, oh my goodness, it's been really exciting. I've been doing my taxes.
Oh, yeah. Fun
my goodness, rip-roaring time, my goodness. You know what, like before I became self-employed, I was generally like, oh yeah, taxation, it's a good thing, it funds things. Now I'm like some sort of miserly capitalist pig dog.
Oh yeah.
But it wants to pay as little tax as possible. I hate it. Oh my goodness.
Everything.
Well, yeah, because they totally screw us over for trying to own our own businesses. Like, come on.
It's rough.
Isn't that what it's supposed to be about? Yeah. Yeah, well, how are you liking the new patch for taxes?
For taxes,
the new patch that just came out, the taxes 1.38, stop being self-employed, you moron. Patch.
Get a proper job. You're eating great. Yeah, that tax. Exactly. Pretty good one. I'm enjoying that one.
The new Brexit patch might fuck me over for a while. I need to see how that's going to affect me.
Yeah, I don't know if the developers are going to listen to feedback and fix that before it gets released, but we'll have to see.
Without getting too political, the developer of that patch can eat a dick.
I think that's something almost everybody can agree on. Yeah.
Yeah, true enough.
As always, I am AsaTJ on Twitter. That's ASATJ. And I've been hosting this and podcast, and I'm on other podcasts, and pretty soon I'll be writing up some Hearts of Iron patch notes, what they actually mean. I think it's been a long dry spell for what the patch notes actually mean, because Paradox has kind of slowed down their pace of patches. I know, like a couple years ago, it felt like I was doing one like every other week or something, but that's going to do it for this week. You can follow us pretty much everywhere. We're NoCB Cast on Twitter. We're on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Twitch, YouTube, all those cool places. You should be able to subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting app. If we're not on a specific one and you would like us to be, let me know, and I'll try to get into their feed. Stitcher, I don't know why it still hasn't approved our application. We'll have to bug them about that. You
start doing some sewing and stitching on the podcast. That'll do it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Anyway, and we'll see you back this time next week. Rose, unfortunately, will not be with us. Fortunately, I guess you'll be relaxing instead. Hopefully. And we'll have Meneth from the CK3 team as our first developer interview.
Sipping a martini,
driving along the
road.
Yeah.
He's the replacement for a week.
I don't think I'm going to be drinking any martinis for a few months.
Of course,
right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Well,
it's not supported by doctors to do that.
Yeah. You get like a virgin martini.
It's supported by doctors in the 1950s, and that's one time.
We are a historical grand strategy focused group.
Drink a lot of Guinness. It's good for the baby.
Yeah.
Recommended by 1950s doctors.
Yeah. Don't take that medical advice, please.
Yeah.
That explains a lot of boomers.
You shouldn't take medical advice from anybody on this podcast ever.
Right.
Yeah.
None of us are medically trained.
Once again, we have two buttons. One is priest and one is leeches, and that's the extent of our medical knowledge. So,
and sometimes we mix up the two. Yeah.
Don't forget, just cut everything off until everything starts working again.
Hey, you knock it, but I've had multiple Crusader Kings characters cured of cancer by just having an arm lopped off or something. So,
well, it's arm cancer.
Yeah.
Woman who got pneumonia after being pregnant, she got cured of it by cutting off her leg.
Leg lung. Okay. She had leg lung. There it is.
Okay.
Well, no, you say we're not medically trained, but surely the best cure for a male leech climbing in your window is yeeting, and we definitely covered that on this podcast.
There we go.
And then, yes, I'm bringing it back to the window.
Writing up a prescription for just yeet your problems out the window. Yeah.
You can get your very own yeet prescription from this podcast.
All right. Well, until next time, yeet all of your problems out of the nearest window, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, Tara.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.